My name is Carlos Horta, and I'm the President and CEO of the Hispanic Association on Corporate Responsibility. The idea is to gather Latinos that sit on corporate boards, along with the senior executives from Fortune 500 companies, to push corporate America to do more for Latinos, both on the executive level as well as the board of directors. We're now the largest minority community in this country, and we're underrepresented in every sector.
My name is Saul Trujillo. I'm the first native-born Hispanic to become a CEO of a Fortune 150 company. Nobody has followed that yet.
We thought that once some of us made it into the corporate boardrooms that there would be an exponential growth. Hasn't happened.
From the research that we've seen here this week, there are 872 Fortune 1,000 companies that have 0 Hispanic directors.
The needle's not moving.
How do you change that?
Someone's got to hold corporate America accountable.
If we're going to do it, let's do it.
We're headed to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Public Policy Conference. You have the members of Congress that are there. You've got over 3,000 people from the community. You know, our mission is the inclusion of Hispanics in corporate America. Corporate America can open doors for us.
So thank you very much. Good morning.
By 2015, we're going to represent about 57 million Hispanics in the United States, about $1.8 trillion in purchasing power.
As of a report done by the Alliance for Board Diversity just of May of this year, white men controlled 74.5% of the corporate boardrooms of the Fortune 500. Hispanic men were 2.3%, and Hispanic women were 0.7%.
We still have about 832 Fortune 1,000 companies in the United States that have 0 Hispanics on their board of directors.
I've come across so many highly experienced, bright, talented Latinos, and I wonder, why aren't we not more a part of the fabric of this country? Why are we not represented on corporate boards? Why aren't we in the C-suite?
There is a growing sense of frustration and disappointment that the discussions we've been having about diversity on boards for the last 3 decades have had such minimal gains.
We're eager to understand how can we break open those doors for others and make sure that that is something that's going to be an enduring legacy for these folks.
There are some people in the government, there are some people at the SEC, there have been some people on the SEC's commission who feel that any intrusion into the boardroom is inappropriate, that we should just simply give the boards carte blanche to do what they think is best.
The concern has been that in this current political environment, it would be hard to get any type of action from the SEC the way I know some of the countries in Europe have around women on boards, where they've actually been able to get things done by exposing it and having some real teeth to it. Because just exposing it, I think on this issue, and proxies now are so thick and there's so much information, unless there's something that you can really hold people accountable with, people will find a way to duck and dodge.
We may legislate having the SEC require those filings to be, if they won't do it on their own, those filings to be more broadly informative of corporate board and senior executive management. But I don't think you can tell a company you have to be more diverse.
A lot of times we don't have that kind of hammer or that kind of an awareness, so people aren't doing what they should be doing.
And I issue a challenge to those leading national Hispanic organizations that I really think that it's time that we come together and try to develop a blueprint for true Hispanic economic empowerment. I think our approach has been a very antiquated, it's an old paradigm, and it doesn't work anymore.
We're wired differently than other communities. We don't pound the table. Until we fix that, you're still going to get the one-offs, the first one, or maybe the second one. You're not going to get the 10th, the 15th, the 20th. I'm always impatient about that. I think that change needs to happen. It needs to happen faster. I think you have to be aggressive. You have to be bold. You've got to take action. You've got to take risks. We launched the Advocate campaign. We've held 10 screenings of Insider Game all over the country, from Anaheim, California, to Chicago, Miami, Atlanta, New York, New Jersey.
First time in Mississippi.
There are a lot of Latinos out there in corporate America that we may just not know about. I think people are always surprised by the fact that our numbers are so low on those corporate boards.
It's a puzzling and plaguing question. Why hasn't there been more movement, more momentum? I was involved in the creation of a Spanish language TV network, the Telemundo, and I saw the reaction from advertisers, from vendors that we were trying to get advertising from, and the negative reaction that I saw from people because we're out there pitching a Spanish language TV network, and they're not sure that that was the right audience that they wanted to play to. Well, that's their audience. Those are the people in their stores. They want to sell product to them. So that was a real aha moment for me. I felt it. I saw it. How do you move that needle? I think you just need to keep working at it. The more CEOs you can get to go to HACR meetings and see what happens in those meetings, the more companies you can get to have employees in their organizations participate in those meetings and interact and be recognized for their contributions, the more connectivity there is, the more understanding there is.
We have a lot of Latinos and Latinas that sit on corporate boards that forget that they're Latinos and Latinas, and don't want to upset the apple cart and want to go with the flow. We just got 5% of the 872 Fortune 1000 companies that have zero Latinos on their board.
I would say if we're getting nothing from you, you can't give me less. Our population will continue to grow, and eventually we'll be 25% of this country. So by default, we're going to have some opportunities, but we could have had a lot more. We haven't moved. There hasn't been any hearings. There haven't been any additional meetings. The only thing that has happened since last time, the corporate directors have formed their own organization. That's a big, big deal that we have. And so now we're going to try and see how, working with them, they would work on the inside, we would work on the outside. And so you play that insider-outsider game. Ultimately, they're one of the few people that can change the game because they're already on corporate boards. So they figured out what the password was, they figured out what the key, the magic words are. They've broken through that glass ceiling. This weekend is all about having that group come together for the first time as a group. They now have to take the responsibility. They now have to take the lead. There are things that you can do as directors that we cannot do it at HACR, right? So insider game, outsider game, right? Working in tangent. That's something we have not done as a community. We haven't been very good about strategy, right?
We've been, in many cases, out there as lone rangers, kind of making whatever changes we need to make and within our own companies or our own communities.
We don't all know each other really well. We're getting to know each other better.
But coming together and really developing an effective strategy to make the changes that are appropriate is, it's new ground.
We're not a monolithic community, and we don't have a monolithic view about every issue and how we tackle it.
You can open doors for that person that no one else can. It's those relationships, you all know that. This group needs to make that commitment to say, look, over the next 5 years, we will make a concerted effort for each one of us in 5 years to be responsible for one other Latino or Latina.
It needs to happen the right way, or else this organization is not going to be effective. You need buy-in.
There has to be a significant commitment on a personal level, both emotional and financial, because in the absence of that, it's much harder for somebody who's not an existing corporate director to go and make that kind of impassioned plea to corporations. I've always told my daughters that I'm one change of clothes away from being treated very differently. I think I've always felt that I had to be more successful than my colleagues in order to get promoted, because I knew that the kind of career path that I was on, nobody puts you in a position of significant responsibility because of your ethnicity or your gender, because nobody's going to risk that.
I think today everyone will have their say.
I think we need to commit our own personal wealth and money to this effort. We have to go get investors and institutions to come collaborate, and then we have to actually do the work. And then you got to go out front. You know, you have to be a spokesman.
And feeling that pressure from outside groups, as well as having those folks who are on the inside moving in the same direction, well, now you start to get some traction, and that's ultimately when we're going to see the change.
My perspective is it's time to move forward.
What you witnessed was the beginning stages of the birth of a new organization of Latino corporate directors who are dedicated to really integrating America's boardrooms.
Corporate America today is underrepresented with Latinos, and we have to continue to work hard to find ways and opportunities for qualified board members.
The challenges are that we have to ensure that everybody outside the Hispanic community also sees us an imperative, and to create the right business environment. So when we talk about increasing Latino participation, it's in the context of making our country better.
You may get attacked, but I think at the end, people appreciate it. And that's what keeps people like myself motivated to keep going forward.
I'm excited and optimistic. We're going to accomplish something. We're well down the road now to actually getting something done, so that we can all look back at this as a watershed event because we've started.
Welcome to the closing dinner for the Corporate Directors Summit and the Corporate Executives Forum. 95 stories above Chicago. The younger generation, they're connected through all kinds of mediums now. And they don't get this whole concept that you're not going to bring your friends along.
So the challenge is to make sure that we zero in on things that we need to do, and then form collaborative partnerships with key organizations to help us, African Americans and Hispanics, together have 800 board seats with no African American or Hispanic. Let's collaborate and work together to get 2 directors on these boards, 1 African American, 1 Hispanic. And if we collaborate, we're going to get there a lot quicker.
That's what I think you'll see over the next probably 12 to 18 months happen. So no one can do it alone. And so you need a committed group of people working together strategically with you to execute against the mission. The Corporate Directors Summit, the Corporate Executives Forum, this didn't exist 5 years ago. And before that, for the last probably 10, 15 years, the community had been trying to put something like this together. And so now the fact that we have 4 years and 5 years worth of success, I think it's great. And I just think we just need to, maybe just hurry up that a little more. But I'm impatient.